Hey YouTube, Motor Racing Network, Steve Post here at Plan B Sales, and we are joined by a legend. Marvin Panch joins us here today. Marvin, how are you? How's things going?
Oh, I'm fine. Everything's going fine. I don't know how many more years it'll keep going, but you know, we'll keep it going.
Just keep right on digging, that's for sure.
Definitely.
Yes.
Definitely.
We are here actually on the launch day of this diecast car, and the University of Racing does the absolute best diecast out there. Incredible detail, and we're going to talk about that in just a little bit, Marvin, but I want to talk a little racing as well, and talk about your racing career, and obviously 17 wins in Cup Series type racing. What kind of stands out as a driver of some of the highlights of things that you've done over the past years?
Well, actually, the Wood brothers.
Sure.
They are first-class people. And this brings me back, my memory back. That was a good car, very good car for me. I think I won, what, 4 or 5 races with it, and back-to-back Atlanta races, and the road race up in New York State, and all that. So, no, it's a super car, but the job they did on that.
Yeah.
Boy, that's fantastic. The color is perfect, because Leonard always made sure on that candy apple.
Right.
I think you have to paint it silver or something first.
Okay.
And then paint the candy apple. And he was very fussy on that car. He didn't like it if I scratched it.
So don't mess up his race car. Yeah.
No, that's right. That's right. That car was the car I won back-to-back Atlanta. Right. And I didn't finish the last race at Atlanta.
What happened with that?
Well, I was leading the race, and they held up a sign. Freddie was coming. So I started running a little stronger, and a lot of cars I was lapping all were going down the back stretch over by the guardrail, and I'm shooting down through here. Well, J.T. Putney's a real good friend of mine, and he seen me coming. Instead of staying there, he was going to get out of my way, and he crossed right in front of me, and I hooked him in my left front and his right rear, and that's when Atlanta had that hole, that pit, and I sent him down in there, and I thought I killed him. Oh, I felt so bad. I did, really. So Bill France, I think, had some money in his car or something, because he called down and said, "Get him out of that car." So they pulled me out of it. There's a few laps left, and they put Floyd in to finish the race. So that's the story on that one.
Wow, that's interesting stuff. It's amazing to me, those different stories and everything, but it just sounds like, and this University of Racing diecast car is the one. Boy, I tell you what, they've done a nice job with this, but the Wood brothers put a good piece under you every time you climbed aboard.
Oh, definitely. They were my favorite, and they're good folks to go along with it. The first time I ran for Glenn was at Atlanta, and after the race, we used to have to stand around for the payoff window. Well, the scoring was a little messed up and took a while, so it felt like midnight by the time we finally got paid. So when I got back, I called Glenn's wife, Bernice. Right. Not Bernice, I'm sorry, that's his wife. I called, what was her name that was in charge of the scoring? Joe Epton's wife.
Okay, I know who you mean.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I called and I said, as long as I drive for the Wood brothers, we're not standing any more payoff windows. Send the money to Bernice, Glenn's wife.
Send them right there, and they'll take care of you. You're not worried about it.
Oh, they're first class. To give you an idea, after a race, about a week after a race, I get a check for $50 through the mail from Glenn. Yeah. He didn't say the reason for it or anything. And next race, I said, "Glenn, what in the world is that $50 for?" He says, "No, boy, give me $100, put a decal on the rear quarter panel there," and he says, "I figured you were entitled to half." So that's pretty straight, honest people, I'll tell you.
That's amazing stuff. That
that
really is. Yeah. Prior to going with the Wood brothers, you know, you talk about the great wins with the Wood brothers, and you had 17 wins over the course of your career, but you're a Daytona 500 champion, did that driving for Smokey Yunick. What do you remember about that race and winning the Great American Race, the 500?
Well, how that came about, Fireball was Smokey's #1 driver. Right. And they had the 60 Pontiac that Fireball campaigned in 60. Right. And they were building him a new car for the 61 race. And the mechanics working on a new car said, "Smoke, let's run that old car." And he said, "Nah, it's too bulky, it's not going to go through the air and all this." And They said, we think it will. Well, it was sitting in the shop with the right side banged up on it. So Smokey says, all right, if you think that much of it, take it outside the shop. He wouldn't even let him work on it in the shop.
Really?
And he says, you're on your own time. So they did that. So then they asked Fireball who was going to put in the car. Fireball, I've been racing with him. He says, and I needed a ride. So he said, put Panch in it. So we ended up winning the race with it because Fireball fell out.
Right.
And the car was a real fast car. And I wasn't in too good with Pontiac because they didn't want to see a 60 Pontiac win a 61 race.
Ah, okay, yeah.
So that wasn't too good. So after the race, Smokey, I had a 40% deal to drive.
Right.
And after the race, Smokey came up and he said, anybody good enough to win the race? And we're 50%.
Wow.
Now, how many people would do that? And he gave the other 50% to the mechanics that worked on the car outside the shop.
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, so that's the type of guy Smokey was.
Really cool stuff. Really cool stuff. Marvin, as you got into the process of putting this car together with University of Racing and everything, first off, what was your thoughts when you heard about it, and then the detail work that they came up with that we talked about, just how did that process come together?
Well, actually, that was my favorite car.
Right.
It really was. And the Wood brothers, the younger guys, the young ones now, they got with them and worked on the car, and they came out with it perfect. They did a perfect job. You look under the hood and everything, it's just the way the car was, the radiator, everything's the same as we ran it. Everything's the same, the engine, in the trunk, the fuel cell, everything, just the way
the detail work is really good.
Yeah, and it wouldn't surprise me if you didn't even wrap the steering wheel the same.
That's it, exactly. I mean, and I think that's the beauty of it, and University of Racing does a great job with their die-cast, and it is the detail.
Beautiful job. Beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely great stuff, and we have it autographed and not autographed as well.
Oh,
so,
okay.
How about that? Well, we appreciate you swinging by. Great chatting with you.
Well, I'm glad to do it, and it makes me happy because that car really brings back a lot of memories to me.
Really is cool, and that's the latest in the line of University of Racing diecast that we have. As a matter of fact, we're going to change screens here and just show you that right now, 18 cars available through the University of Racing. So all of these great cars available at your local diecast dealers, or you can get them at planbsales.com. But folks, you heard it from the guy that wheeled the car. These diecast cars, very authentic, very real looking, and a lot of detail goes into it. So make sure you get it. Make sure it says University of Racing on your diecast that you get this classic diecast.